Well, a very good afternoon. I'm not entirely sure what actually has happened here, but as you may be able to see, Mr. Kane is nowhere to be found. And I'm not entirely sure why that is the case. I very much hope that he is okay. But as you can see, it's just sort of me at the moment, which is riveting for you, I'm quite sure. Anyway, a very warm welcome as we start today's program. Ah, look who's just rocked up. This is exciting. Very exciting indeed. Here you are. Hello.
Tell me something. Why is that lovely, lovely photo that I arranged last night?
Hmm.
Why is it there?
Well, that's a very good question because I'm pleased you asked this. Oh,
Hmm.
there you go. It's the right way around. No, we're Ant and Deck again. You see, that's
Yeah,
better.
Morecambe and
Yeah.
Wise.
In a nutshell,
Mhm, mhm.
the reason why there is a picture of Kilimanjaro in the background is
Oh,
because the
where was that? Sorry. Where was that? The
Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Kilimanjaro. Right.
Mm.
What is that? Is a mountain, isn't it?
It's something in the way of a mountain,
It's
yes.
quite a big mountain, basically,
Mm.
isn't it?
For some ridiculous reason,
Yeah.
I have agreed to
Mhm.
take part in a charity hike of Kilimanjaro for
Yeah.
Beyond Mental Health, which is a charity by Johnny Benjamin, and you may know from this program. And yes, for some silly reason, I said yes
Yeah.
to it. So I haven't quite worked out
Yeah.
why I said yes to it.
So
Because now the training
yesterday,
starts and it gets a bit scary.
yesterday. So when exactly? Just for clarification, Philip, when are we going up Mount Kilimanjaro?
Well, I shall be trying to make the ascent at around about, I think it's the second week of September.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
It's all scary stuff. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie.
Yeah. I'm. Yeah, I'm just a little confused. So yesterday you went for a walk. This is your training.
Yes. So no, not a walk. Excuse me. Don't put it down as a walk. I have, I've climbed heights that I've never climbed before.
What,
Yesterday,
Box Hill?
that's the one. What
Yeah.
happened is that yesterday
I'm just looking while you're chit chatting away. I am just looking at. There seems to be some problemo here because it's not
mm,
going on all the.
on all the platforms.
No, I don't know why. Not.
No. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have
It's
a go. I can
clearly
fix.
not
I
going.
can fix that whilst I talk to you. It's
Can
fine.
you do that?
Anyway,
You're a genius. How do
it's
you
very
do
kind. Very
that?
kind.
How do you do that? I
How
don't know.
does he do it? I've no
You're
flipping idea.
incredible. What a man. It's only one. It's still not on my LinkedIn at the moment for some
Don't
reason.
you worry. I'm on it like a
But
bonnet.
on it like a rocket. What a man he
In
is.
answer to your initial
Good Lord.
question.
Penny Horner.
Oh,
Penny. Hmm. She's the
in
queen of
answer.
Jermyn Street. She puts on the plays and they get great reviews. The theatre is small, but it punches above its weight. That's Penny Horner and the German Street Theatre.
Straight to number one.
That's unbelievable. I think she'll like that. Now, somebody called Linda Dave. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, Linda the COVID Dave at the moment.
Linda, I'm not well again, Dave.
Well, not well again. I mean,
No,
I don't
didn't
think...
you have to leave? Excuse me. Didn't you have to go and live with your sister?
Yes, but that wasn't because of that. It was trying to stop her getting COVID. And in the short term, that works. But sadly, the long term, it didn't. My mother currently has COVID.
I thought this was your mum's second. We are on LinkedIn. Says Elizabeth Green. Great, hurrah! Don't know why it wasn't going through on
It's all
everything.
good.
Anyway,
It's all in
we're
the
firing
fingers.
on all cylinders. Well done. Hello, Elizabeth Green in New York City. Penny Horner in.
Anyway, I never got around to finishing telling you about yesterday.
No, I was kind of drifting off. Anyway, go on.
Oh,
yep.
How rude.
Go on. No, go on. I'm listening. I want to hear everything.
So Kilimanjaro in September, started doing a bit of training for it, and yesterday was hiking around with a friend of the Forest of Dean. Mm-hmm. And my goodness me, it's very picturesque, but there are some serious slopes going on there.
Forest of Dean.
Mm.
Every tree, as you go past every tree, does it go diddly-dum-dee-doo?
Yes, it does.
Okay. You'll only know that
if you're a radio
freak, you'll get the gag. Right, go on.
Have you recovered from Wednesday yet?
I haven't recovered at all. And I've got another show starting tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the morning again. Another call. I haven't recovered from anything at all. I'm like, you know what it's like? I tell you what it's like. Then I want to get back to you. But when I was a kid, we went on a boarding school. We went on a school trip to Box Hill, my idea of hell. And we had to schlep up Box Hill. And then we started to run down Box Hill. You know, you're little kids, you're 10 years old. And you know, if you've ever tried to do that and you can't slow down, you have no control. And that is how my life feels at the moment. I'll be absolutely honest with you. It feels chaotic. Just like I'm running down Box Hill and I can't stop.
But it's much better than being bored.
Oh yeah, certainly not. I'm never bored. That is for damn sure. Never ever bored. Anyway, you're training. Hang on, we've got both a marital drama and training all in one go.
Elizabeth Green, my ex climbed Kilimanjaro, and we spoke when he was at the top. So, expecting a call from you, Phil.
Yeah,
Elizabeth, I'll bear it in mind.
That's absolutely going to happen. He's going to be up there, gasping for breath, lying on the he'll be like that. And I must find Elizabeth Green in Manhattan, long distance on my phone. He's going to do that. Yeah, he's going to do that.
I wonder what signal's like on top of Kili.
Probably better than where is it? There was some place in town. We used to be in. I know it was in the city. If you're not in London, it doesn't matter. But in the city, like right in the heart of the city, suddenly the signal would go on your phone, and you go, "I'm in the financial section. This is one of the busiest places and most important places in the world, and I've got no phone signal." That's how it used to be. It's not like that now. What are you eating? This is just so unprofessional. You're eating.
I'm hungry.
Where are you, by the way? I have no idea where you are. I can't tell from that background. Are you in?
I'm at a certain HQ that's not too far away from you.
Oh, okay. Okie dokes.
But it's
nice.
I've taken an hour out just to speak.
What I thought.
But this is technically my lunch hour, hence the crisps. I'm sorry.
Yeah, crisps. This is part of your nutritious.
It's part of my training.
Part of your training. So, Phil,
well, I burnt off so many calories yesterday.
I walked through a woods and I'm eating crisps. I can't see a problem. I can't see any problem with that Kilimanjaro. I think you've done. I'm going to be honest with you here. I think you've done enough.
I think so. I've also enlisted the services of a personal trainer as well, who's mildly horrified.
I'm sorry. You've done what?
I've enlisted.
Say that again.
I have enlisted the services of a personal trainer.
Jill Kenton is not a personal trainer.
No, she's a drill trainer.
She's a sonic trainer.
And you will understand that joke if you know what her married surname is.
I don't know what her married. Absolutely not.
Her married surname is Trainer.
Oh, it is Trainer. That's why her kid's called something Trainer, isn't it? Which I've never thought.
Correct.
I thought maybe her kid was in witness protection. That's why she had a different name.
Yeah,
if I don't get a coffee, I'm going to actually.
Well, you go and get your coffee, and I'll say what Luke Newman.
30 seconds. Good afternoon. Oh, look at that.
Look at this. He says, "Good afternoon, gents."
There'll be 1 second. Won't be a second.
Oh, all right. Unbelievable. Right, seriously. And he's got the audacity to have a go at me eating crisps. Unbelievable. Anyway, right. Okay. Good afternoon, gents. I have a day off from my new job at Mind today, so I'm joining you. Luke, thank you for spending your day off with us. We appreciate it. He says, things are great. For Men to Talk is going from strength to strength. And get this, I've been shortlisted for a BBC Three Counties Award. Hurrah! Good work, sir. I know quite a few people at Three Counties, so you're in good company there. I can't influence the vote, though, so don't ask me to, but that's good work. Michael Verby says, good morning, chaps. Good to see the professional broadcaster back. He says, as I'm eating crisps, I'm so sorry. And then also, who have we got? Barry J. Allen, Flash, sorry, no expense spared on the sound effects in this place. Barry J. Allen says, morning all. Well, good morning to you. And Robert Van Buren says, hello, Russ and Phil. Well, it's very kind of you to say hello to Russ, but as you can see, he's disappeared off for a cuppa. So what can you do, Robert? I'm so sorry about that. But anyway, Paul Claridge says, good afternoon, everyone. Nice hat, Russ. We'll relay that to him. We will relay that message of his hat to Mr. Kane when he gets back from his coffee machine, and we will ensure that your efforts to type that message, Paul Claridge, have not been in vain. And lovely Demisa says, hello, guys. Lovely day for a broadcast. Well, it is. You're quite right. It is a lovely day for a broadcast. Well, now that Mr. Kane is back, I will
What do you think of my
reiterate.
hat? What do you think
Well,
of
I
my
was going to
hat?
say, I'll reiterate Paul Claridge's message. It says, good afternoon, everyone. Nice hat, Russ. So there you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I saw it on, it was a Facebook advert, and it's it's a.
Oh, dear.
What's that?
Oh, dear. Lovely
Who the
Demisa.
hell's
Phil,
asking
your
her?
hats are much
Who the
better.
hell's asking
Thank you.
her? Bloody nosy cow. Shut up.
Thank
I
you
was
so
asking
much.
her. Russ off for a cuppa at his age. No, I really. Thank you, Leslie. It's really appreciated.
It's a confidence vote.
It's a nice confidence
hang on,
vote.
all of that effort. It's only going to take you one sip. What the hell's that?
It's an espresso. That's what I drink. I don't drink anything else. That's what I have. Well,
Unbelievable. So you've gone for a few minutes and you've literally made that much coffee.
Yeah. That's what I've done.
And you didn't have time.
I'm not married to you. I don't need the constant criticism. You're practicing for when you get married. I can see this. See it a mile.
What?
You're practicing. Picking. This is why marriages fall apart.
What, because of me?
Yeah. Well, basically, because you're such a Lothario in the northwest London area. Did you do Michael Verby's thing? Good morning, chaps. Good to see the I don't like you, Michael. I don't like him either. You can stay in Spain. I've rented out your place in Leeds. Andrew Morton was on that climb.
Emma West says, hello all. Thanks for the round the horn pictures for today's show. Afternoon all. Rocking hat and shirt, Russie. Wowza.
Well, you're very sweet. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was Julian. I couldn't resist Julian. Thank you, Emma. That's very nice. Julian and Emma, I got to say, your recent messages to me are quite obscure. I'm not sure.
Overbearing?
I'm not sure I totally follow them. I understand that. That's very, very nice. But you send me private messages, and you're obviously going through something. I wish you well with whatever. Something's happening in your life, and we wish you well. What is this? Now, what have we got? Russ hat reminds me of one worn by the great South African double tennis player Fru Macmillan. What a prime minister he was. When I was a little boy, I was 5 years old, and my grandma.
What a memory!
You finished?
Sorry.
Because remember, you are 2 stops away from me on the tube. Right, 2 stops before you get
true,
the
actually.
right.
When are we doing lunch?
I'm going to do lunch today if you want. You can do lunch whenever you want.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, let's discuss.
You can go whenever you want. Now, here's the thing. I was 5 years old, and my grandmother, my mum's mum, who died a million years ago, and my mum, my late mum, took me to a panto, and it was a noddy panto.
Oh, no, they didn't.
It's behind you. What? My career. And I was 5 years old, and Noddy goes to the audience, goes, "Who makes the world go round?" And I stood up and yelled, "Harold Macmillan." Swear to God, I did. 5 years old. You were meant to say it was like Mr. Wibbly Wobbly, or it was something like, or Tessie Bear, or something. No, there was a character in Noddy that wouldn't fall over. A bit like Phil after 17 whiskies at the Soho Whiskey Club. He's there.
It's true. I've never fallen over.
You've never.
I've never fallen over with alcohol.
Nor have I. Nor have I.
Said that.
With one hand that works. Yeah, and I yelled, "Harold Macmillan!" And apparently, my mum and my grandmother were very embarrassed. Is it a stipulation?
I can't understand why.
No, I thought it was a rather sweet story. But there you go. Is it? Thank God for that picture. We like that picture. Well done, Michael. You're slowly crawling your way back into our good graces. Is it a stipulation that Russ should appear on the left-hand side of the screen as we sit? It is a rule created by myself and Phil. That's how it is. That's how we like it. That's the way it rocks. That's the way it goes. Yeah. So my schedule recently has been completely bonkers, and
can I put it to you, Michael? You wouldn't watch Saturday Night Takeaway with Deck and Ant, would you?
No. You wouldn't watch Wise and Morecambe. You wouldn't watch Ball on Cannon.
Saunders and French.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't watch the French in general, but you know what I mean.
Would you not? I'd like the French, but you'd watch Dawn French.
Oh, Dawn French. I love Dawn French.
No,
I've even been lucky enough to meet her. Oh, I've just dropped the name. I'm so sorry.
Is
But
she Dawn French is a yeah, do that one again. Yeah, I was only saying to the late Prince Philip, I hate it when people drop names. It's he said, yeah, me too.
Very good.
Leslie to me. Oh bugger, the Beverly sisters, because you had Joy in the middle. There was Babs, Teddy, and Joy. Joy was always in the middle. Christ, I'm showing my age, and I can't remember Clang. Says I always love it when people, because in real life I'm actually quiet, and doing better, thanks kids, phew, and I'm back. Well, that's good. That's good, Emma. If you ever need to talk about
go,
it,
Emma. Come on.
Go, Em. That's good.
I don't mean go as in like get out, because that would be rude. I mean go as in like you can do it.
Yeah. See, I just want to give you a little bit of advice. May I?
Well, it's never stopped you so far.
No. I'm asking for your indulgence.
Right.
Can
I have a Malteser while you do that?
You want a Malteser? I don't eat chocolate, but you're fine.
No, I'm saying, I'm going to have a Malteser while you do that.
It's
sort of more out of courtesy.
I love this, Leslie Ian Jones. I was next to you when Prince Philip met you. He said, "Get out of the way." Dave Sleep one. Oh man, Dave, he is going through it. You do not want what Dave's got, and he is so brave. We have a lot of messages, he and I together. He gives me complete updates, which I won't do. It is Dave's business, it's private stuff. But wow. You are so stoic, I don't know how you do it, Dave. I don't know how you do it. You're an amazing, a truly amazing man. Now, what I was going to say is this, Phil. When people find you, how can I, trying to, just between the two of us, right? If people find you a little irritating in real life, they can just sort of move away. If somebody finds you really irritating at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, I don't want to read in the Daily Mail, broadcasting star plummets to death. I don't want to read that. You see what I'm saying?
I totally and utterly understand.
You're joining the dots. Are you
saying, albeit subtle, that I need to go away with the people I'm going away with first to establish if I find them irritating and vice versa first?
I would just say, on that climb, shut the hell up. Just whatever they say is a great idea. Go with it. Don't be controversial. And here's another
what if
clue.
They say abseil down the side of a cliff or something? That's not a great idea. It's a terrible idea.
Well, let them go. Because and ask them before they do that what size shoes they take, because it could be handy for you. And the other thing is,
save me a lot of money,
Well, there you go. And the other thing is, when you're up the top, don't mention Brexit. We know what happened last time.
Oh,
we know what happened last time.
Yes. Absolutely. Do they have lions on Kilimanjaro? No, I think they're playing at Wembley this weekend.
This is only a mother could ask this. I think, Linda, lions are the least of your son's problems as he attempts to conquer Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't think lions are kind of top of the list. Top of the list
is... You know why? It's because lions can't breathe up there.
And neither can you unless you do some proper training, you twerp. You do realise how high it is. You're not. Wandering through the forest of Dean at 1 foot above sea level is... No, God damn. It's really tough if you've never done... I've never done it because I've got no desire. Yes, you see. Look at this. He might be out of breath up there. Air's thin. That's a personal comment. Oh, air's thin. Sorry, Elizabeth.
I was going to say, I didn't realise you've been looking at my air.
Yay. Oh, good luck. Hang on. Look, you see the top of my head.
Alec, where are you?
I don't know where I am. Would you like to read this? You're a professional broadcaster.
Paul Claridge says, 41 years ago today, I was standing... 41 years ago? You must have been an infant. 41 years ago today, I was standing... I was standing in a crowd near St. Paul's Cathedral. The wedding of Charles and Diana. 41 years ago. Oh, my goodness me.
Who knew that?
An exciting day, but now I can only think, if only we'd known then what we know now, of the trials and tragedy, which would blight and ultimately end the life of Diana far too soon. But look, to be honest with you, Paul, I strongly suspect if she'd have known that as well, things would have been very different.
If Diana, everybody forgets. They always think Diana... of the most famous woman on the planet, right? I had the pleasure of meeting her twice. And everyone thinks of this sophisticated. She was 19. This all kicked off when she was 19 years old and a nursery school teacher. What the hell do you know at 19? Sod all. I mean, you think you know everything, and then by the time you get to 25, you think, I don't know anything at all. 19. She was a baby. She was 19.
I would like to point out as well, though, to be fair, you always say what would happen if we knew now what we knew. If we knew then what we know now. Yeah. But think of it like this. William and Kate are, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most superb bastions for the royal family. The royal family is in very safe hands with them moving forward, no doubt about it.
Yeah, okay, fabulous.
And they wouldn't be here. Well, Kate might be, but William wouldn't be. So you know what? I think everything happens for a reason.
Do you know? I got to say, it's weird, and I will make this about me for a second. You know, I often think, well, if I'd never met my wife, who passed away when the twins were 5, things would have been very different, and maybe she wouldn't have got cancer. Who the hell knows? All sorts of things you beat yourself up with. But then I wouldn't have had the twins. We wouldn't have had the twins, and they're so fantastic. So I often wonder. Yeah, it's really hard. I think about that. I think about that a lot. What if? What if I hadn't made that phone call? What if?
Yeah, but the problem with
There's
what
no
ifs,
point in going through it.
The problem with what ifs is you can't change it, and it's actually, I think what ifs mean that people lose focus on the here and now, which is far more important. This is actually, you know what? This is actually part and parcel of one of our issues in today's day and age, is that think of how obsessed people are with the past. Okay. And I'm speaking as someone who gets nostalgic, but I'm not talking about nostalgia. Think of how obsessed we are when people start saying, look at what?
Look at this comment.
Oh, just tuned in. What the heck is going on with that white hat?
Well, you didn't even say what the heck. I like my hat. It's a summer hat.
It is a summer hat. It's a very nice summer hat.
Thank you. I can take it off.
As Beanie rightly identifies, nostalgia ain't what it used to be. Very good. Anyway, yes. So I was saying the reason why I was talking about that is because if you think of how obsessed we are in a day and age where people are forever banging on about people from historic figures, right? Historic figures who, for whatever reason, they find offensive in using this day and age's standards, for want of a better term, right?
Yep.
We're so obsessed with the past that we're completely and utterly taking our eye off the ball with what's happening around us right now. No one concentrates on the fact that there is one of the biggest mental health crises going out there that we've ever seen.
And getting worse.
And also, that's widely attributed, by the way, to, I think, and I'm no professional, but this is just my humble opinion, dwelling on issues that A, people can't change, and B, are totally and utterly irrelevant, right? For example, this bunkum about gender-neutral toilets.
What a load of crap.
What a load. One would assume there's more than just that involved, but yes. But one of the problems with talking about stuff like this and wasting time with stuff like this is that, and far as I was concerned, growing up, there was no such thing as gender-neutral toilets. If there was a toilet that men and women could use, it was a toilet. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't gender-neutral. It was a toilet. End of discussion. There's nothing more to say. If people are not happy with using facilities, then that's on their own head, be it. I'm very sorry, but it kind of is. It's up to them what they want to do. But by wasting time talking about stuff like that, what you're actually doing is highlighting the issue of gender to young, impressionable people who are already confused at life at the best of times, but are now being even more confused at the prospect that despite growing up as either boy or girl, they now think, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking like this.
I'm going to say it. I couldn't say it on the BBC, I'm sure. These people should be in prison.
I think you could say it on the BBC. I see no problem with that.
The people who are saying that children of babies of 2 can decide their own sex, these people, one, I think are mentally ill. I truly mean that.
I think it's an insult to those who are genuinely mentally ill.
Okay, I'm trying to be slightly delicate here, but okay. And 2, I think they should be in prison. I think what
No,
they're
that's
doing.
for sure.
I think what they're doing is absolutely disgusting. There is no. Let's get serious for a second. Azadon Brown, always great to see you. And I'm still getting over Leslie Ann Jones married Leslie Ian Jones. What would she be? She'd be Leslie Ann. Oh, she'd just be Leslie Ann Jones. That would be no different. A mutual friend, very good, close mutual friend of me and the Beanie. Now,
it's a bit like what happened if maybe sort of Whoopi Goldberg married Gerard Depardieu. She'd be Whoopi Dupidieu.
I always think Beyonce should have married that wonderful entertainer, Roy Castle. Then she'd be Beyonce Castle.
I love strange
names. How do we go from gender? How the hell do we go from a serious discussion about that and getting on to bouncy castles?
I don't know, but it's a bit like I have more of an issue with misleading names. Leanne rhymes. No, it doesn't. Excuse me, Chantal Rickards. Don't shake your head in disgust at me. That was hilarious, and you know it.
Very, very good. This would be great. This is another one. If Tuesday Well married Frederick March II, it should be Tuesday March.
That is brilliant.
I love very
that.
early.
Russ, that was bad. Make me laugh out loud. Shame.
Shocking, but very amusing.
There we go.
There you go.
Michael Verby makes a good point. I'm going to ask Chantal this question. Always fascinated me how a slight twist of fate affects all our lives, as illustrated by the film Sliding Doors. Absolutely right. Chantal, personal question. Oh, look, you got a sunflower behind you. Il girasol, as they say. I love sunflowers. I bought a certain somebody a bunch of sunflowers. I'm going to replace them very soon. They're just so cheery. They're so cheery, aren't they?
Very cheery.
Do you dwell on the... And you can say, I'm not here to discuss this. I'm here to discuss film and television. Shut your face, Russ. Do you dwell on the past sometimes and think, why? Or do you just think, well, it happened. There's nothing I can do about it. Let's move on.
Interesting question. I dwell on the past a lot, but I try not to do regret because I don't think it's very helpful. It just sort of doesn't allow me to move forward by sort of
exactly.
Regret stuff. But I do think about the past a lot because I have so many happy memories from the past that actually they go with me every day, and what's not to like about that.
And I agree with that. I think if we take some sort of comfort from the past, that's very different to dwelling on the past. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I saw a wonderful tweet, Shantas, yesterday, randomly. I didn't know the person. I got no connection with them. And it said, since you stopped being a child, have you ever been truly happy like you used to be when you were a child? Well, it was and I wrote back and went, no.
Oh, no. Did you really say that?
Yes. No, absolutely. I can remember the last time I was truly not a care in the world happy.
Oh, well, that's different. I mean, not a care in the world is one thing, but I think you can have cares, but you can still be incredibly happy.
Not happy like that sort of happy. No, there's always a tinge of something.
Wow.
No, I don't believe it. It was such an interesting tweet. I just happened to see it, and I thought,
well, I will come round with a bunch of sunflowers and cheer you up.
Don't you think? I mean, I'll do something. I might get you some sunflower oil. I think it's more useful.
Oh, shut up!
You've
ruined a beautiful moment.
Don't you think?
Away with flowers. You've buggered the whole thing up now. She's turning up bloody oil.
Don't you think, though, that the definition of happiness just changes from when one is an infant to when one's an adult? It's almost like the parameters of happiness change, but not necessarily sort of. You know, it's not terrible. One can still be happy.
The best thing about my childhood were the dreams where I thought I could fly. I don't know if you had the same dreams as a child.
Don't tell him that. He's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, for Christ's sake. This will end up very badly.
I've never had the same dreams as a grown-up, but I think it's a bit of a thing that children think that they can fly in their dreams, and it's wonderful. You just think you're Peter Pan. But I've never had that since.
Well, that is Phil Dave.
Well, Russ certainly thinks he's Peter Pan. I was going to say, oh, you stole my punchline anyway.
Now, this is important. We've got to digress for a second because, and it's a serious moment, so I've got to do a bit of a gear shift. There's no clever way I can segue this neatly. This is from Chrissy Richards. Now, as you will recall, a couple of weeks ago, Chrissy said, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit down today," and thank goodness I didn't make one of my usual stupid comments, because to everyone's horror, her son had taken his own life, and the funeral clearly was yesterday. So, hi boys, lovely time at the funeral, sad day, but happy too. Loved the chats and info from his army. That's his army friends, presumably. They were lovely, and my great-grandchildren. The church was full. Wow, and over 600 people watched on live stream. And then she adds, one army pal came from Australia.
I do wish those who aren't around anymore would know, so like the kind of attendance they'd get at their own funeral, because I wonder if they realise just how much they're clearly loved in this life.
Yeah, well, you may remember broadcaster John O'Coleman, who, before he died, he knew he was dying of cancer just over a year ago. And he and his wife decided to send a message around to everybody to say, look, this is the end. And we just, want to let you all know. And in fact, he got all those wonderful messages of, adulation and support before he died, which, people telling him he was really loved. And I thought that was wonderful. It was very brave of them, because you wouldn't normally do that. But actually, everybody responded in an incredibly positive way. And I think it helped. I mean,
it's a great idea. I'd never thought of that. That is a wonderful idea, because it's afterwards. You go, oh, so-and-so was great. Well, unless they're looking down.
Did you tell them?
Did you tell? There's one of my favorite authors is called Christopher Fowler. He writes the wonderful Bryant and May books, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. I've always wanted to meet him, and I never have. I'm just a punter reading his books, but we tweet a lot. And last week he said, well, I've just had my final, and he's young. He's a young guy. I don't know, he's in his 40s, 50s, something like that. And he said, well, that's my final diagnosis, and I'm out of options, and the cancer's going to take me. And next week, finally, I'm going to meet him. He's doing a book thing, and I bought a ticket instantly.
Wow!
Just to be in the same room as him. I don't care if I don't speak to him, because I just love his work. And I thought,
I mean, I would have thought he'd suffered enough, but okay.
Well, maybe it would make him feel not so bad shuffling off his mortal coil if he realizes he never has to meet me again. Could be that. But I'm trying to make light of something horrible. But everyone wrote. I wrote immediately, and I said, I just want to thank you for brightening up the world, and for your talent and your brilliance. And what can you say? But that's it.
Well, that's what you can say, and you said exactly the right thing. I think that couldn't be better.
Look at this. This is coming in from Manhattan. It's taking an interesting shift, this conversation. Philip, would you do the honours?
Elizabeth Green says, I had a friend who invited everyone over while he was dying. Good Lord. They played cards, laughed, joked, and partied. Sat round his bed with him. Oh, my God.
It's a bit like having lunch. I'll tell you what, it's a bit like having lunch with Lloyd Beanie. It kind of sounds the same thing, the sort of same jovial.
Playing cards.
Except I sit there going, is he going to die or what? Because for him, one more joke that I've heard for 40 years, I don't know. Yeah, it's a similar thing. It's a very similar thing. Now,
sorry, Beanie, you must feel fabulous.
No, he's been winding me up all morning, starting with a hat and moving on. Although my favourite of the day was, if you're not happy, which of the 7 dwarfs are you?
Well, I have to say, when it comes to the hat, I'm afraid I'm with Lloyd Beanie. Sorry about that, Russ.
Paul Claridge is doing some name dropping as well. He says, John O'Coleman sent me some lovely messages when I was diagnosed with cancer, which helped me greatly. And likewise, I hope he gained comfort from messages I sent him. Well, good on you, Paul. And I always think that one of the most important things for any condition that anyone goes through is just knowing that you're not alone and supporting one another through it. So I'm sure.
Bad news.
Perfectly sure.
Bad news coming in from Hampstead.
Oh,
God. I'm planning on living forever. So far, it's working out just fine. Man's on fire today. Right, I'm going to recommend a TV show to get things back into. I know that's great. That's great. It'll be like God forbid Phil falls off when he's doing Mount Kilimanjaro, and as he's falling down, I'll be like, well, okay, so far. That'll be him. That'll be Phil.
I'm rather worried about Phil going up. Phil
I can't think. Can you?
Oh,
Chantal,
dear.
it's not just
That
me.
really,
Chantal,
that is
yesterday-
brilliant, Beanie. That really tickled me. That.
Chantal, let me ask you this. Right, yesterday,
Oh, dear.
Boy Wonder phones me up. I can't do something.
I'm
Could
sorry.
you help? I went, yeah, sure. So
Oh.
I did a TV show. It was very nice. It was a huge. It doesn't matter. And I said, why can't you do? I'm going for a walk. Was his word? What are you going for? I said, why are you going for a walk? And then he says, well, have you forgotten that I'm climbing Mount Kilimanjaro? And I can't have Phil Day and Mount Kilimanjaro in the same sentence. I just can't.
What?
It's like
I don't understand why people don't take this seriously when I tell them this.
I
I'm
know
actually.
that you're doing it. It's because you haven't done any bloody preparation. That's why. Wandering around
Oh,
the
yes.
forest of Dean at half a mile an hour, going, well, that's a nice tree.
It's
Look at
not
that
hard.
leaf."
Excuse me.
you know.
It's not half a mile an hour. I covered about 12 miles yesterday and my feet were dropping off. What's wrong with
Okay.
you?
Well, that's a good hike. 12 miles is a good hike.
That's far. That's 12 miles too far. I'm exhausted in the yogurt aisle in Tesco's. I get to the end, I have a rest. Now,
I got out of
I'm
breath
gonna-
running a bath.
I'm going to precisely. We've got 20 minutes. I'm going to kick off very, very quickly. There is a new series. It's a TV series. It's in 8 parts. It stars the great Chris Pratt, who you know normally as a sort of jovial guy. It is called The Terminal List. Forget everything you know about Chris Pratt. I binge watched the last 4 episodes last night. I binge watched something like this. I binge watched the previous 4 episodes the night before. Fantastic. It's called The Terminal List.
Yep.
It's very tough. It's very hard. There are some twists in it that I thought, I didn't see. Really, one of them I really didn't see coming, because they take you down a rather charming road, and then it ain't so charming. Just fantastic. It's called The Terminal List. It's on Amazon. It's free.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it. Boom. There you go. That's me. I'm
Okay. No, but you've got to tell us what it's about. It's not good enough to say
Oh.
it features Chris Pratt. You have to tell us what the story is.
She's a
And this
tough
is
girl.
Chantal. This is why you're the one who usually reviews the TV.
This is why she's got no BE.
I know what it's all
And
about.
I've got a block,
I think
and I've
your
got a
audience
Blockbusters
might not.
video club card. That's how it's going. It is about Chris Pratt is a Navy SEAL. Don't do the joke, Phil. Try and stop. They go on a mission in Syria, and it goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Oh, you're
And
Syrian about it.
he thinks it. What did you say?
I said you're Syrian about it. Very good.
That was almost somewhere there was a joke there, but I'm not sure.
I'll work on it and get back to you. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
oh, please do. You can do it in take 2. Just give me a high sign, and we'll pretend we didn't hear the first time. And the mission goes dreadfully. No, stop it. The mission goes horribly, horribly wrong, and he gets back to the US, and essentially, because this happens in the first few moments, I'm not giving anything away. His entire SEAL team of 14 other Navy SEALs all killed in this mission that goes horribly awry in Syria, and he then begins to suspect that they were set up, and
So
that
the seal is broken.
We can do better than that.
That's why I didn't eat animal biscuits for years. It
It's
said, "Do not
only-
eat
it's
it. Do
only
not eat
moments-
if the seal's broken." I looked
moments like
inside,
this
and would you
realise
believe
how
it?
good Petri skin is, really.
What?
Anyway, so that's the story. That's the deal with. It's
Right.
called. That's it.
And where is it? Where is it available if people want to watch it?
For the 50th time, Mr. Kilimanjaro.
No, it's
your name's going to be
remind
Kenny
people.
Manjaro from now on. It's on Amazon.
It is.
Amazon. It's called.
And the critics love it. It's been very well reviewed by anybody and everybody.
Oh, good.
I've watched about the first 15 minutes, and it looks pretty good. It's a great Boise drama, shoot 'em up, thriller, mystery, all suspense, all that good stuff.
And also, it does something which is quite rare, because you're rooting for Chris Pratt, even though he has done, it turns out, as the story unfolds, some really totally illegal things, but you want him to. It's interesting. It's really good. And I mean, they must have spent a fortune on it, because every scene is huge. just massive.
Yeah,
Luke
they're
Newman.
promoting the heck out of it. So
Oh well, they should do, because it's and Chris Pratt, what a terrific actor.
Luke
Anyway, there we
Newman
are.
says, "Can I recommend Phantom of the Open, starring
Oh.
Mark Rylance, out on digital release now? True story of a man in the 1970s who gets on the British Open without ever having played golf." He says, "My twin boys are in it too." So I suspect there's a little bit of commission going on from Luke, but it's okay. Don't worry. We'll take the recommendation. We're open-minded. Get it? Open-minded.
That's very good. Yeah.
It is absolutely brilliant. Actually, I didn't put it on the list for this week, but I did watch it on, I think it's on Sky at the moment. For
Oh
those
dear, Luke, it didn't make Chantal's list. Bad news, sorry.
No. It would have made the list, but I had so many films to review, and it's still there to do at some stage. But I'm glad that somebody else has brought it up, because it's really sweet. It's one of those absolutely lovely British-made films. Only the Brits can make films like this. It's the true story of a guy who worked in Barrow-in-Furness, who worked for one of the local engineering companies, who enters the Open half by accident and half on purpose, and can't golf. And he does it repeatedly over many, many years, often going under an assumed name in a disguise. It's absolutely hilarious. It's gentle. It's lovely. It's got Sally Hawkins playing the wife. It's just an absolute delight. It's 90 minutes worth of gorgeous British storytelling.
Is he doing it as a gag for himself, or he really wants to get into the Open?
No, he gets told that he's being laid off, and so he decides that he needs to do something with the rest of his life.
Oh, right. Okay, right. That makes sense.
Self-improvement.
Yes. I once went to Barrow-in-Furness, and this is not a joke. There's nothing funny coming up. And when you see the submarine pens, shut it. When you see the submarine pens, you get an idea of the size, these huge structures. I'd never seen it. You don't see it in London, do you? Wandering around the streets of Hampstead with your artisan bread, and you see where they're building submarines and properly building stuff. And you think, wow, it's ginormous, the scale of it.
Yeah.
Mark Rylance, last time I was having the last cigar I've had a few weeks back, Mark Rylance walked right past, and Colin Baines went,
"Really?
Mark Rylance?" And just walked right past us. I was quite
very
excited.
nice man.
Is he? What an actor! Blimey, O'Reilly, what an actor!
Terrific.
Anyway, there we are. Okay, next on the Chantal's list.
Well, I have seen so much, mainly because I haven't seen you guys very much. I was not here last week. I missed class.
Oh,
So
who was sitting in the Phil? Who the hell was in the middle? Who the hell turned up?
Maybe you just chatted amongst yourselves. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, so for me, I was in Los Angeles, so I was
so yes, it was so sweet of you. I thought, are you mad? No, you're not getting up at 4 o'clock in the ridiculous. I hope that LA was nice. Was it charming?
LA was good, and it was full of posters for the terminal list, which
wow,
promoting like crazy.
Okay.
And LA was LA. You know, I went out for the BAFTA Student Film Awards, which was rather fun, and just took place over 2 or 3 nights in Los Angeles, and then I skipped back over on Saturday. So
as you do, popping down to the shops.
Indeed. Well, I know that journey so well, and actually,
Paul, I'm not going to read out your comment because it's all complete nonsense. But it's up there if you want to read it. Leslie Demesa coming in. I don't mean your nonsense. I mean the situation is complete crap. I'm not going to add to it. Leslie Demesa, may I recommend the newsreader on BBC Two and iPlayer, set in Australia, 1980s TV station, just excellent, brilliant characterization.
Yeah,
okay.
Very good. It's on the list for on my list today, and let's just sort of divert off and tell you a little bit about that. A brand new drama that's just started on the BBC. It's an Australian drama, and it's very similar to, in a way, it reminded me of one of my bosses from Yorkshire Television. He was a guy called Bruce Gingell.
Oh.
Prior to running Yorkshire Television, had used to run TVAM, and he was known as the Pink Panther because he always used to wear pink shirts to work. He was this big Australian character, but he'd been the first newsreader on Australian television. So when I started watching the newsreader, there were so many things that made me think about him and this larger than life character that I came to know in the later part of his career. But the newsreader's good. Again, it's been well reviewed. It came out on Australian television last year. I think it's gone to a second series already. And it's all about, the girl newsreader, the older guy. Is he going to give up his post? Is the girl going to take over? Is the young buck waiting in the wings actually going to, get the top spot? There's a whole load of, there are quite a lot of familiar tropes, newsroom tropes, but it's worth it. It's really well acted. Actors I don't know at all. And it's absolutely worth a go if you like that sort of drama. Based in 1986.
Elizabeth Green, a very good year, by the way, might I say.
What was 1986?
Yeah, Elizabeth Green says, "Can we have something I can watch here, please?"
Yeah, look out the window. You're in Manhattan.
Adverts.
There's a million things going on, Liz. Just look out the window.
The only thing I associate with American television is just lots of adverts. So I'm sure.
Okay. Well, no. I tell you what, you can watch is something that came out on Disney Plus last week, which actually is top of my list, and it's a brand new series starring Andrew Garfield, who a lot of people will remember. He's been one of the Spider-Men. I think that's probably
and Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, Hacksaw Ridge, exactly. A very good actor. He's a method actor. So seeing him do some TV where he plays a Mormon detective is quite different. It's a true crime series. There, every single drama on television seems to be coming from a true crime. So what all the crime writers are doing these days, I don't know, because they've been put out of work, because the ideas seem to be coming from real life stories. And this is one about crime in the Mormon community, again, going back about 20 years, going back to the 90s. And Andrew Garfield is the detective. He's buddied up with a First Nations guy. So there's clearly the sort of the yin and yang of the two different characters and their two different upbringings coming together. And a ghastly murder from Mormon.
First Nations is?
Indian, American indigenous communities.
Right.
Yes. The people
the gang that John Wayne made his entire career from shooting.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm with you.
Yeah.
With you now. Got it.
So, and it's about the murder of a child and mother who are Mormons, but are they really towing the Mormon line? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they trying to break away from the faith? And then the whole thing gets incredibly murky and wound up in the Church of the Latter-day Saints. So it's really good. It's been massively well reviewed. I've only seen the first episode, but it's cracking, really cracking. It's on Disney Plus. There are 7 episodes, so Elizabeth Green can definitely watch that in the US.
I've got a big question. I've got a seriously big question for you, Chantal, and it is a serious question. All of us are tightening our belts, and I was only having a conversation last night with a close friend who said, well, I'm thinking of cancelling this and that subscription, which I get. I think a lot of us are looking at that. If you had to choose one streaming service, all right, 2. All right, because one's really hard. I don't want to give you Sophie's choice, but if you had to, what would you
give a Hobson's choice instead?
Well, the first thing I say is for people who are feeling the pinch, as we all are, is make sure how many screens you're allowed to register on each account, because I know on my Netflix account I can share that with 3 other people. So I've done
that on Netflix with the kids.
Okay. Yep, so you need to find some buddies that you can do that with on the different systems.
I don't have any friends. I've fallen at the first fence. You know that.
I might be able to have a password.
I've got Phil and he hates me, so that's kind of it, really. Here we go.
There's a lot of good stuff coming out of Apple TV. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of Disney. But if you want something new every week and you want stuff in bulk, then Amazon and Prime are still the biggest. They just are. They're just making more than anybody else.
Isn't there Now TV as well? Isn't it? I think Now TV is supposed to be sort of like multiple subscriptions in one place or something like that.
Yeah, and you can get a great deal. I'm sorry, it sounds like an advert. But if you're going to do Now TV, I will say, please try and negotiate, etc., because it's one of those typical things. I'm going to leave. Oh, are you going? No, don't. You can have it for 3p a week, or it's one of those. So just be careful.
I think Now TV, actually, you also get with some of the telco providers. So depending which telecoms system you're on, you can get Now TV as part of that package too. So just make sure, before anybody forks out for any more, just double check where the deals are.
And my big question then, what about, because they are pushing it like crazy, Paramount? The Paramount.
Oh my
Paramount.
God, it's terrible.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh,
I think it's
oh.
awful. I'm
Based
so sorry
on,
to say
I don't
this.
know. I don't know.
Well, I had a
they're
blast.
adverts.
I had a quick flick through it, and I couldn't see anything that appealed to me, if I'm honest.
Oh dear.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
I get Paramount as part of Sky Cinema, so if you're a
Exactly.
Sky
Yeah,
subscriber,
that's why I've got it.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
right.
so have a look. But if you're watching off iPad, it's a restricted service. If you're watching off your telly or your Sky box, your main Sky box, you get a broader range of shows.
Restricted. I'm not even going to
Well,
ask
yes,
why.
on iPad, there are only certain things that you can stream. And I think on the Paramount Plus one, you can't stream a lot of the Paramount Plus programs through your Sky app. But if you're watching on your box, you can. It's all a bit confusing.
I don't know. It sounded great. I just like listening to you. I haven't a clue what the hell that means. It means that if I get an iPad, I don't know what the hell. Anyway, there we go. Right. Now,
Emma
I never
Webb
watch
says,
anything on my iPad.
Emma Webb
'cause it-
says BritBox and BBC iPlayer all the way. Now, Emma, the thing that irritates me about BritBox, I'm sorry, I'm not saying there isn't good stuff on there, because there is, absolutely. But the problem with BritBox is, as a license fee payer, you've paid for half of it already. Shouldn't have to
That's
pay
right.
to access
That's
the
absolutely
BBC
right.
stuff again. It really irritates me.
Yeah.
It's a very clever marketing thing. I know. Let's dress it up. Make it. I fell for it. I've got BritBox, and I'm thinking, what? Now I'm thinking, and then I've just listened to what you've just said, Phil, and I thought, wait a minute. I actually have already paid for this.
Yeah.
Why am I paying again to see the stuff I've already actually
The ITV
paid?
stuff and Channel 4 and Channel 5, I get that because it's commercial.
Yeah.
But BBC content on BritBox should absolutely be free to access.
Well, except you do get most of it on the UK TV channels, and they were set up specifically to redeploy or rebroadcast old BBC archives. So that's what the UK TV channels are all about. So an awful lot of the BritBox stuff is already on UK TV.
But a lot of the UK TV channels are actually on Freeview anyway, aren't they?
Yeah,
For
they
that
are.
very reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, there we are.
Well,
So I was going to mention
what's the
something.
matter with him today? If they ever make a film telling the story of women's radio station and men's radio, who would play Russ, Chantal, and Phil? Who would play Howard Jameson? Who would play Penny Horner? That's what I want. I want Vincent D'Onofrio to play Howard Jameson.
Well, we should ask the audience who they would suggest. We could have some fun.
You know it's going to be horribly rude. You know it's going to be hideous.
No, I think we should take the ringlets.
Oh, God. Paul, if I ever see you again. Right, anyway, next on your list of things that you've liked.
This is one for you, because I know you love comedy. I know you love American comedy. And I came across somebody I had never heard of. And I have to say, you're going to find this utterly appalling, because you're going to say, Chantal, how could you not know George Carlin? Well, I think we're going to say.
The great George.
Do you know George Carlin or not?
George Carlin is my comedy god.
Well,
he is the best.
Well, I didn't know who he was, and the minute I saw this documentary, I thought, this has got Russ Kane all over it.
Oh my God!
And he is a comedy god, and I am ashamed that I never knew who the guy was. He died 15 years ago.
Yep.
He was the first sort of subversive comic that made it big in television. And
with Richard Pryor. Yeah, with Richard
Pryor. Quite know which road to go down, whether to be a sort of stand-up, boring Saturday night, sort of front of house comic, or whether to go down the subversive route. But he was naturally a subversive human being. And so he was like the sort of Michael Moore of stand-up, and that's a weird analogy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he challenged absolutely everything about modern America, and challenged the idea that America was great. And actually he was good. Well, it's not so great. We need to look at our religion. We need to look at society. We need to look at healthcare. And he really poked the bear over and over and over again. And in the UK, we have something called Ofcom, which is the Office of Communications, and they decide what naughty words you can say and what naughty words you can't. There was a case...
A bit like Russ on this station, really.
Indeed. There was a law case in the US that resulted in something called the Carlin warning about the 7 naughty words that came.
The 7 words. That's what it is.
George Carlin, and these 7 words, they're still there and they play a major part in the program. But he became part of, American culture in a way that I'm staggered I didn't know about him. He's a really important comedian. And this 2-part documentary on Sky, it comes from HBO. So for our American watchers, they can watch it in the US on HBO.
I don't have Sky.
Well, you'll find it somewhere. There are ways and means.
Okay.
But it's a very clever documentary. It's 2-parter, great archive, really, really worth watching. Even if you don't know who the guy is, it's beautifully made by Judd Apatow.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrific documentary.
It's really interesting because he, as you said, he died, I think, 15 years ago. I think it was cancer as well. And so he wasn't old. I mean, and when you watch his monologues, you'd think they might have aged badly. They are more appropriate now than when he actually said. I mean, his thing about religion is, I'm not going to ruin it by even attempting to do any of it, is incredible.
Absolutely.
And how much I love this guy was that when he did his religious thing, I thought he'd open the top of my head, looked inside, and just read everything that I was thinking, and then managed to put it in a way that I could never have the talent or skill to do.
Yeah,
it's been one hell of a headache.
Well, it hurt. It hurt. Not as much as falling off the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, obviously, because you're wearing flip flops. But it would hurt. My pal is Rain Pryor, the daughter of the great Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And there was a wonderful piece which I follow where Rain and George Carlin's daughter were both interviewed together, because their fathers were complete pioneers and
worked together
and were very, very brave. We look at it now and we go, oh, was that brave? At the time, it was incredibly brave. Yeah. And the stuff that Carlin does to this very day, is absolutely cutting edge. It's quite extraordinary.
And that's what
Elizabeth
Green is asking, what are you referring to? What's the name of it?
It is called George Carlin. Hang on, I have to scroll back up to the top of my screen. George Carlin's in the title, definitely. It's called George Carlin's American Dream. And as you know, I keep telling you the American dream is a nightmare. But
it is a
that's
nightmare.
just my
You're right. Do you know what's really interesting as well? And you alluded to it. When you first see the early shots of George Carlin, he was on like the Tonight Show, and he had the side parting and the brill creamed hair and the immaculate suit. Yeah. And he was a straightforward, not Borscht Belt, but a straightforward lounge. I'd call him a lounge comic, absolutely solid mainstream. And then he became, completely, you wouldn't even think that there's no physical similarity between that guy that you see and the George Carlin of latter years. Anyway,
absolutely.
Can we throw in as well that just before we run out of time, that tonight, momentous day in televisual history, being that it is the final ever episode of Neighbours on Channel 5.
Indeed.
And of course, that aired last night in Australia. It's airing tonight here on Channel 5. And I think personally, after 37 years, it's a bit outrageous that it's been axed. But hey, I suppose all good things come to an end. So there you go.
Yeah. And if it makes you feel better about you and George Carlin, I've never watched one episode of Neighbours ever. I've never seen it. Ever.
Well, some of us have grown up watching it. So there you go.
I understand. No, I get that. I'm not being rude about it. I understand that. Those things can get very, very personal. It's just amazing. 37 years. No, haven't a clue. I know Kylie and Jason. That's it.
Well, both lovely people.
Both of who may well feature in tonight's program. So there you go.
Well, I think they do. Keep tuned. Anyway, good to see you guys.
Oh, it's been lovely to see you. Welcome back from the City of Angels. That's all I can say. Or not City of Angels. Anyway, thank you so much.
City of Hell's Angels.
Yay! Bye-bye.
Los Angeles. Anyway,
always marvelous. Always lovely to see her. Always looks so elegant. I don't know how anybody does that. I grew up watching Emergency Ward 10. Yeah, you can be sarcastic, but I did. That's right. And No Hiding Place and stuff like that. We're bang out of time. Phil, I look forward to seeing you next Friday when you can fit us in.
A great pleasure.
The schedule from hell. Thank you to everybody who's been watching out through the week. Chrissy Richards, we send our love to you and all strength to you and to your family. Go on.
We're over time. Monday at midday. Bye.
That's it. We'll see you then. Bye, gang. Bye.